Good day to everyone. My name is K.S. Mathew, Professor in the Department of Computer Science, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Kochi. Welcome back to the course CS 308, Software Engineering and Project Management, Module 5, Project Management Concept. This is part 2 of Project Management Concept. So, we will start from defining what is project management. So, if you look at the definition from PMI, Project Management Institute USA, what is project management? So, PMI's definition of project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to project activities to meet the requirements of stakeholders. So, project management is the application of knowledge and experience of project manager, his skills and a lot of tools and techniques to do the project activities in order to meet the requirements of various stakeholders of the project. That is the definition of project management as per PMI, Project Management Institute. So, this involves lot of activities like appropriate application and integration of project management process. There are a lot of project management processes, and it is the application of using that processes and integrating all the processes together, and identifying stakeholder requirements. Stakeholders of the project may have different requirements for the project, and you need to satisfy the requirements of all stakeholders of the project. Effective collaboration and communication between various stakeholders, manage various stakeholders towards achieving project objectives. There could be conflicting requirements from different stakeholders, so it is your responsibility as a project manager resolve the conflict if any and try to achieve or satisfy all the stakeholders. And it is also primary responsibility we talked about. The responsibility of a project manager is to ensure that there is a balance between time, cost and scope. That is his responsibility as well. So, these are the actions, these are the activities normally done as part of project management. Now, I have highlighted the word stakeholders in the definition of project management. So, who are stakeholders of a project? Project stakeholders. Project stakeholders can be classified into 3 categories. Stakeholders are organizations or individuals involved in or affected by the project outcome or who can influence the project planning and execution. The stakeholders can be classified into 3 categories. It could be an individual or an organization who are involved in the project, who do various activities of the project, like project team, project manager, who is actually working on completing various activities of the project. They are involved in the project. And the second category of stakeholder is people or organization who are affected by the outcome of the project or the result of the project. There are people who will be affected positively. For example, customers and the end users who are going to use your product will get benefited out of the product, right? But there will be some stakeholders who will get affected negatively because of the project. For example, if you look at a public project, there are a lot of people or citizens, for example, smart city project or a metro rail project. If you look at, there are a lot of people who need to vacate their land, give their land to the project and leave that place. So, those people are the ones who get affected negatively because of the project. They are also the stakeholders of the project. So, the second category of stakeholders are the people or organization who get affected positively or negatively are also stakeholders. And there is a third category. They are the people or the organization who can influence the execution of the project, planning and execution of the project. For example, the opposition party, whenever there is a public project, opposition party will come up with a problem and try to create issues or prevent that project. So, they are the people who can influence the execution of the project. And many construction project for example, right? If you want to construct a building, you need to get the approval from the municipality or the corporation. So, they are not involved in the project, they are not affected by the outcome of the project, but unless you get the approval from that authorities, you will not be able to start your project. So, they can influence your project and stop your project, right. So, they are also stakeholders of your project. So, these are the categories of stakeholders that can be there in a project. So who are the typical main stakeholders of a project? Project manager is the main stakeholder. Your customer is the important stakeholder. Performing organization, the owner and the government agencies are also stakeholders. Sponsor, who is funding your project, is also a main stakeholder. Team, project team, who is going to do various activities of the project, are main stakeholders. And the end user, who is going to use your final product, is also a main stakeholder. And the society and the citizens become stakeholders, as I discussed in case of public project, for example. And the funders, the sponsor may be getting the fund from a bank as a loan, for example. So the bankers will also become a stakeholder for the project. And there could be a lot of subcontractors and suppliers who would be doing a lot of work for you, subcontracted work for you, who would be supplying resources for you. So they are also stakeholders for the project. Why is project management very important or vital today? Today, project management is very, very important. That is why there is an increase in demand for certified project managers. So why is it vital today? If you look at the current scenario, there is fast changing everywhere. Technology is expanding very fast, technology is changing very fast. There is changes in business, changes in customer requirements continuously, rapid changes in the customer requirements and business needs, shorter product life cycles. Life cycle of a product is becoming shorter and shorter as time goes on. If you look at the life cycle of a product at this point of time, you will find that it is not more than 6 months. Suppose you have developed a good product and released it in the market, and if you don't do any changes or enhancement in the product, within next 6 months, your product will die. Your product will go out of the market, and there will be some other better products in the market, and that will kill your product if you don't innovate or change or enhance your product continuously. So that is the lifetime of a product without any enhancement or innovation. Shorter product life cycles that necessitate continuous innovation in product, which requires project management. Global marketing opportunities. Now the market is global, there is global competition. Your company is competing with global players. So in order to compete with global players, you need to have a strong, effective project management methodology and good project managers. Globally competitive market, you need to compete with global players in the market. Compulsion to, there is a big compulsion to introduce more and more new product in much lesser time span with limited resources. So that is also a big challenge. So that involves effective, strong project management. Compulsion to get things done correctly in the first time itself. You don't have time to rework and make the product better and better, fixing that defect. In the first release itself, product should be 100% perfect. That is also a big challenge, which requires effective product management, quality management. So that is why the project management is very, very vital today. So the mantra for today is faster, cheaper and better. Produce better product, faster and cheaper. Produce better product, faster and cheaper. That's the mantra for today. For that, we need effective project management and effective, strong project managers. Now look at what is the role of management in software development. If you look at a few years before, maybe 30 years before, software development was not considered as a project itself. So there was no project managers, there was no proper methodology followed in software projects. So there was no need of a proper project manager in software project maybe 30 years before. But now the scenario is not that. Project management is very, very important. Project management plays a major role in software project success. So what is the role of project management in software development? As you could see in the Cavus report of 2018, you have seen that only 30% of the software projects were successful, remaining 70% were failures. Out of that, more than 50% projects were runaways with cost overrun, schedule slippage and not meeting the requirements. So, and most of the cost overruns and schedule overruns, the average overrun was 125% in 2018. So that is the current scenario of software project. And if you look at the reasons or causes for this failure, the major reasons are like unclear objectives, bad estimation, wrong estimation, incorrect estimation, improper or lack of planning for the project, no project management methodology used in the project, insufficient trained staff. These were the main causes of the failure, and all these are one way or the other way related to project management, directly or indirectly related to project management. So in order to make your software project successful, effective project management is very, very important and key for delivering a successful software project. That is the role of project management in software development. And software development is highly dependent on 4 factors. Software project management is highly dependent on 4 factors called 4 P's: people, product, process, and project. So you can see this is the dependency between these factors. The highest priority is for the people factor. Next is for the product. Third is for the process, and then the project. So if you look at the software project scenario, the major resource is people, human resources. If you look at other projects, construction project for example, the majority of the cost is spent in the material resources. Majority of the cost is for the material resources, and the labor cost is comparatively lesser than the material cost in the case of a construction project. But if you look at the software project, major cost is the human resources. So the people are very, very important, because that's the major mainly single resource in software project. There could be some hardware resource and the software resource tools used in software project, but if you compare the cost of those hardware and the software tools, it is much lesser than human resource cost. So managing people in a software project is very, very important in the case of software project. Proper selection, which includes managing people, which includes recruitment or proper selection of resources, and training and development of resources, motivating your team, rewards and recognition system for your project team members, career development of the team, all these are involved in people management. So that is very, very important in case of a software project. The second factor is product. Your project, the aim of your project, objective of your project is to deliver a quality product to the customer or deliver a solution to the problems of the customer. That's the objective of your software project. So this involves clearly understanding and defining the requirements or the problem, clearly understanding and defining the requirements or the problem, and managing these requirements, and doing quality activities, quality assurance activities, so that you can deliver a quality product meeting all the requirements of the customer to the you can deliver a product meeting all the customers' requirements. That is the second factor, which is very important in the case of software product. And the third factor is process. If you have a matured process, perfect process, the product that comes out of the process will also be perfect, defect free. If your process is defective or not mature, the product that comes out of the process will also be defective. So it is also very important that you need to have a proper process defined for software development and continuously improve that process, so that the product that comes out of your process, your organization, will be of high quality, defect free products. And the fourth factor is project, so which involves proper estimation of effort, cost and schedule, which has to be balanced with each other, and project planning is very, very important, project progress and status monitoring, all these are related to project factor. So these are the 4 factors which are very important in software project management. And now we will look at what are the different phases in project management life cycle. To make the project management as we discussed till now, you can see it is not very easy, it is a complex activity, right? Whenever you want to solve a complex activity, what's the approach you adopt? Divide and conquer. So in order to make the project management easy and less complex, you segregate the similar activities into different phases and divide the entire life cycle of the project into different phases to make it easier, understanding, less complex and all that. So projects are divided into different phases for better understanding, reducing the complexity and overcoming the uncertainty. So you will have multiple phases in the project life cycle. All these phases put together is called project life cycle or project management life cycle. Collectively, all the phases together is called project life cycle or project management life cycle. Each phase will have one or more tangible, verifiable work product. At the end of every phase, you will get some tangible, verifiable work product, one or more tangible, verifiable work product. And the end of a phase is marked by the verification of this work product, verification or review of this work product, and that ends that phase. Then you go to the next phase. So all these phases put together is called project management life cycle. Now let us look at what are the different phases as per a standard methodology from PMI, Project Management Institute. There are two standard methodologies in project management. One is by PMI, Project Management Institute USA, called PMBOK. They have a standard which is published in a book called Project Management Body of Knowledge. Currently, it is the 6th version, which was published in 2017. That is one of the primary standards followed in the industry, software industry, primarily in India. India, majority of the companies follow PMBOK. And there is a second standard. It is a UK standard, British Navy standard, which was introduced by British Navy, called PRINCE2, Projects in Controlled Environments, PRINCE2. There are some companies, UK based companies, follow this standard as well, but most of the companies follow PMBOK, PMI's PMBOK. As per PMBOK, PMI's PMBOK, the project management life cycle is divided into 5 different process groups or phases, and they are initiating process group, planning process group, executing process group, monitoring and controlling process group, and closing process group. So as per PMI's PMBOK, these are the 5 process group or phases in project management life cycle. If you look at the interrelationship between these phases, it is like this. So you start the project with initiating processes. There are a lot of processes under this. So you will execute this initiating processes. From initiating process, it goes to planning processes. Once you start planning, you will also start executing process, executing some of the plans. So it goes from planning process to executing process. So as you execute the processes, as you implement executing processes, carry out executing processes, parallelly you will also monitor those collect data from those executing processes and monitor the status of those deliverables and control those executing processes back from the verifying processes. So there is an arrow going in and going out from the executing processes. So it collects a lot of measurement from executing processes and do some analysis, and based on the analysis it may give some change request to the executing processes. So that's why the arrow is up and down. So parallel with executing process, you have the controlling processes. In the controlling process, if you find that there is a variation, the executing process was not in line with the planning, then you could even modify the plan or can have additional planning process. So it can go back to the planning process also and do some additional planning or change some of the existing plans as well. And when verifying process or controlling processes confirms that all the project objectives have been achieved by validating the work products from the executive processes, it finds that all the objectives have been achieved, it will transfer to closing process. So the project can be terminated because the project objectives have been achieved. So from controlling processes, finally, when all the products have been developed and it meets the requirements of the customer, it goes to the closing process. That is the interaction between different process groups in project management life cycle. Now let us look at what is the effort involved in various phases of this project management life cycle. So you start with initiating process. The effort in initiating process will be higher in the beginning of the project and it will be over after some time. But as soon as you start initiating the project, you also start planning processes, which is high in the beginning of the project, and it goes on, the effort reduces, it comes down, but it continues till just before your closing process. The planning, you need to keep on planning, replanning, change your plan continuously till end of your project, nearly end of your project or just before starting the closing process. And once you start planning, you also start executing processes. And you can see the effort is maximum during the construction stage or the development stage, which is in the middle of the project. It is the maximum effort. Then it comes down towards the end, so it continues till end of the project. Executing process, you can see monitoring and controlling process also happens parallelly with the executing process, which collect data from the executing process and give change requests to the executing process to control the executing processes. Then At the end of the project, you can see the closing activity happening in the end of the project. The effort in the closing is only at the end of the project. So this is the effort involved in various phases of project management life cycle. So under each of this project management process group, project management life cycle process group, initiating process, planning process and executing process, there are a lot of individual processes. Totally there are 49 processes as per PMI's PMBOK in the 6th edition. So you will be executing various processes under planning and executing and monitoring and controlling and closing. So this is one segregation of the project management process as different process groups or phases. Now there is another classification of processes, 49 processes in PMBOK, that is based on something called knowledge areas. PMBOK, this is based on PMBOK, PMI's project management body of knowledge, 6th edition, and the processes, 49 processes of project management is classified into 10 different knowledge areas. And these are the knowledge areas in PMBOK: project integration management, project scope management, project schedule management, project cost management, project quality management, resource management, project communication management, project stakeholder management, project risk management, and project procurement management. And some of these knowledge areas are included in your syllabus. As you could see, we have covered risk management in the last session, last video session, we have covered risk management. And if you look at the module 2 of your SCPM syllabus, there are a lot of processes that comes under scope management is included in your module 2 of SPM, like collecting the requirements and defining the requirements is a process in scope management that is included in your module 2. Similarly, scheduling and tracking the schedule, which comes in project schedule management, that is also included in your syllabus as module 6, which we will be taking, we will be seeing that in module 6. And cost management, you have seen in module 3, we have the estimation process, software estimation, COCOMO model, function point and all that, which is estimating the cost and the budget, which is part of project cost management knowledge area. So it is covered in your module 3 of SCPM. Quality management, it's also covered in your module 4. We have coding and testing. Testing is also a quality activity, a quality control activity. So that is covered in module 4 as part of code review, code verification and testing. And resource management is actually not covered in detail in your syllabus. There is some portion related to resource in module 2, like rally curve. What is the relationship between the effort and the schedule, which is represented using the rally curve. Other than that, there is not much detail with respect to resource management, but that is an important knowledge area as far as software projects are concerned. Communication management, not much. Yes, it is there in the first module, little bit, not in detail. Stakeholder management is not covered in your syllabus. Risk management, yes, we have covered as module 5, as part of module 5. And procurement management is not covered in your syllabus. So going to the details of each individual process in all these 10 knowledge areas is outside the scope of your syllabus. So I am not going to the details of each process under different knowledge areas because it is out of scope of your syllabus. Because of that, I conclude this session at this rate. Now let us do some quiz for a few questions related to the topics we have covered during the last 40 minutes. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a project? Option A, temporary. Option B, definite beginning and end. Option C, interrelated activities. Option D, repeat itself every month. Which of the following is not a characteristic of a project? So if you remember the definition of a project, you can see it is temporary, it is definite beginning and end, it consists of a lot of interrelated activities, and it is not an ongoing or repeated activity. So the answer is D, project will not repeat itself every month. Answer is D. Operational work is different from project work in that it is, so in an organization you have both operational work and the project work. And operational work is different from project work in that operational work is temporary, operational work unique. Option C, ongoing and repetitive, and D, a part of every project activity. So again, answer is very straightforward. Operational work is ongoing and repetitive. The answer is C. Question number 3, the following activity can be treated as a project. So, which of the activity can be treated as a project? Option A, manufacturing a car. Option B, surgical procedure in a hospital. Option C, delivering a course by a faculty. Option D, customer support activity by a MNC. If you look at these activities, manufacturing a car, once the design of the car is made, manufacturing, you can repeatedly manufacture the same car any number of times, any time. As long as the car is out of market, you can keep on producing the same car again and again, repeatedly manufacture. So it is not a project, it is an operational activity. Manufacturing activity is not a project, it is an operational activity. Surgical procedure in a hospital. Surgical, doctors do a lot of surgery in hospital, which is repetitive. So they may be doing the same surgery repeatedly every day they may be doing 3 surgeries, repeatedly every day they will be doing the same procedure again and again, right, repeatedly, and so that also cannot be really treated as a project. Customer support activity by MNC. Whenever you have a complaint with one of your product, you will call the customer support team. So they will give you some solution for you. So they will be doing this activity continuously day in and day out, 24 hours a day, 24/7 support, right. So it is an operational activity, it is not a project. They will be doing the same activity throughout their lifetime or throughout the life of the company, and that is also an operational activity. Now look at the option C, delivering a course by a faculty. So I consider delivering a course by a faculty as a project always, because the course is always unique for me. So even though I take the same subject repeatedly every batch, every time it is unique for me, because I am teaching a new set of students, and I will be planning that course in detail, executing the plan and giving assignments, and there are a lot of I will be planning what are the things I am going to teach on a daily basis, what are the assignments I am going to do, when are the internal examinations going to happen. All this will be planned in detail, right, and so it is a unique activity for me every year. When I teach a new batch of students, maybe the same subject or different subject, doesn't matter. So it is a project for me. So I consider it as a project, and I take it as a project and manage that course as a project management. So this can be considered as a project. Delivering a course by a faculty, it could be an online course, it could be a classroom course. And there is an output, deliverable. Your output is a service to the students. So that is there is a unique output, because customers are different, stakeholders are different. We are serving a new set of students, a new batch of students, and there is a definite beginning of the course, definite end of the course. It is temporary, it is not ongoing. So it satisfies all the characteristics of a project. So this is the answer. Delivering a course by a faculty can be considered as a project. Following is not part of triple constraints. Option A, scope; B, time; C, cost; and D, quality. So scope, time and cost is considered as triple constraint, and quality is not part of triple constraints. Which is the most important resource in a software project? Human resources, hardware resources, software resources, and knowledge repository. So as we discussed, main resource in software project is human resource, the people. People are doing the work. There is not much material involved in software project. Maybe some hardware, the computer and the software tools may be involved, but the cost of that hardware and the software tools is very, very less compared to the human resource cost. So the major resource or most important resource in a software project is human resource. The following is not a characteristic of a software. We talked about software product versus other products. So there are some specific characteristics for software product which is not the characteristic of a software. Option A, intangible. Option B, wears out by use. Option C, flexibility. Option D, complexity. So software doesn't wear out by use. Software, hardware, but hardware product, it wears out when you keep on using the hardware. For example, when you keep on using the car, maybe after 10 years or 15 years, it starts showing problems. So it wears out by use. But a software product, once it starts working, it works in the same way. without wearing out. It doesn't wear out by use. So the answer is wears out by use. Following is not a characteristic of a software. It doesn't wear out by use. And these are the references I have used for preparing this session. K.K. Agarwal and Yogesh Singh, Software Engineering 3rd edition, New Age International Publishers 2019. This is given as one of the reference in your syllabus. And I have also referred Pankaj Jalote's Software Project Management in Practice, Pearson Education 2015, and Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMPOC 6th edition, Project Management Institute USA 2017. So these are the references for this session. Thank you all. See you once again with some other video session.